Welcome back to Outside Views. Today we tackle a particularly controversial and sensitive topic currently dominating headlines in the United Kingdom. The Labour government's significant cuts in social spending. In recent announcements, the administration of Prime Minister Keir Starmer revealed plans to drastically reduce welfare benefits, particularly impacting people with disabilities, to redirect funds toward increased defence spending. And this move has sparked intense public debate, but also protests and deep dissatisfaction even among traditional Labour supporters. At the heart of this issue lies the broader geopolitical context that Europe, including Britain, currently faces. The war in Ukraine, coupled with strained transatlantic relationships, particularly following the return of Donald Trump to the US presidency, has forced many European nations to reassess their defense strategies. In response, Britain has decided to significantly ramp up its military expenditures, aiming to reach 2.5% of its GDP in defense spending. However, the British government insists on achieving this without raising taxes or increasing national debt. And the solution they've chosen? Drastic cuts in the social welfare sector. And let's dive deeper into what these cuts specifically entail. Most notably, the government plans to tighten eligibility criteria for personal independence payments known as PIP or PIP. PIP is a vital welfare benefit enabling people with disabilities to afford essential items such as wheelchairs and private therapies. Additionally, supplementary benefits for those with health conditions severely limiting their ability to work will be significantly reduced. For those aged between 18 and 22, these supplementary payments will be eliminated entirely. The government's rationale behind these cuts is to encourage more young people to enter the workforce. Currently, Britain faces a significant challenge with nearly 1 million young people aged between 16 and 24 unemployed or not in education or training. A significant portion of this group cites health issues, including mental health struggles and physical disabilities, as reasons for their unemployment. Yet, despite government claims of helping these individuals enter employment, these measures have sparked widespread criticism and protests. Over the past weekend, people with disabilities staged demonstrations across 16 cities in Britain, expressing their deep frustration and anger. Individuals like Leo, a 24-year-old wheelchair user, have shared their personal struggles openly. Leo described this arduous journey to employment, highlighting that barriers he faced were primarily due to inaccessible workplaces rather than a lack of willingness or motivation to work. For him, these cuts unjustly brand people with disabilities as lazy or unwilling to work. And Sam, a 27-year-old with cerebral palsy who relies on a wheelchair, shared similar sentiments. Despite working full-time, Sam emphasized how crucial PIP payments are for maintaining his independence and employment. He highlighted the enormous financial burden of potential wheelchair replacements, noting a new wheelchair could cost around €9,500. Without these payments, individuals like Sam face dire consequences, potentially losing employment and social connections. Activists such as Samantha Baines have strongly condemned the cuts, arguing they are economically counterproductive and morally reprehensible. According to her, the cuts will inevitably make it harder for disabled individuals to remain in employment, thus undermining the very goal the government claims to pursue. Moreover, the Department for Work and Pensions acknowledged that by 2030, approximately 3.2 million families would lose an average of around €2,000 annually due to these cuts. And the emotional toll is also severe. Sam revealed that he has long supported Labour, campaigned for them, and voted for the party consistently. For him and many others, this decision feels like a profound betrayal. It's a striking statement reflecting the widespread sense of disillusionment permeating traditional Labour support bases. But what has driven the Labour government to such drastic measures? A critical factor is Britain's weak economic growth. The Office for Budget Responsibility, or OBR, an independent watchdog, recently halved its growth forecast for Britain, now predicting a mere 1% growth rate. And this sluggish economy severely constrains the government's financial options, particularly as interest rates rise, increasing the cost of national debt. Economists like Michael Jacobs from Sheffield University attribute rising borrowing costs partially to international uncertainties triggered by political shifts in the United States. To manage these challenges without compromising on defense, Labour's financial team, led by Chancellor Rachel Reeves, has decided that social spending must be the sacrificial lamb. And in a recent budget speech, Reeves highlighted Britain's urgent need to secure its future amid escalating global threats. She promised £2.2 billion in additional defence spending on top of previously announced increments. And by 2027, the UK's defence budget aims to reach 2.5% of GDP, with an eventual target of 3% by 2030. And Reeves argued that expanding military infrastructure, bolstering arms manufacturing, and boosting weapons exports would drive economic growth, turning Britain into a military-industrial superpower. However, she only briefly mentioned the cuts in social welfare spending, totaling £4.8 billion annually, which quickly became the primary focus of public outrage and media coverage. Government data released after her speech revealed the human cost of these reductions starkly. The figures indicate that approximately 370,000 individuals will lose social benefits entirely. Another 430,000 people who would have been eligible under previous rules will no longer qualify. And critically, these cuts will push an estimated additional 250,000 individuals, including 50,000 children, into poverty by 2030. Demonstrators outside the Treasury chanted "welfare, not warfare," encapsulating widespread public sentiment against redirecting social welfare funds to military spending. Adding fuel to public dissatisfaction is the government's decision to cut development aid budgets further to finance these military increases. And this decision starkly contrasts Labour's traditional stance, historically supportive of robust social welfare programs. And meanwhile, the tax burden on British citizens is set to reach levels unseen since 1948 by the fiscal year 27-28. Economists and commentators speculate further tax hikes. They might emerge in upcoming budgets, potentially exacerbating public dissatisfaction. And this profound shift in priorities raises significant questions about Labour's political identity. Critics argue the party, historically associated with social justice and equality, risks losing its soul by adopting policies seemingly aligned more closely with conservative austerity measures. I am pro the military budget, by the way. I don't want to hide that. But these actions challenge the core principles upon which Labour has built its support, potentially alienating its traditional voter base. And ultimately, Britain's decision reflects a broader European dilemma. As countries grapple with escalating geopolitical threats, governments face tough choices between investing in defence or maintaining robust social safety nets. It's still for some possible to do both. But the outcome of Britain's current approach, whether economically viable or politically sustainable, remains uncertain. But what is your perspective? Do you think Labour's decision to cut social spending in favour of defence is justified by the current geopolitical realities? Or do these actions represent an unacceptable betrayal of the party's traditional values and supporters? Or could they have financed it differently if you think the military spending, like me, is good? So let me know your thoughts in the comments, and if you found this dive insightful, please like this video and subscribe to Outside Views for more comprehensive analysis on UK politics, economics and society. Thank you for joining, and I'll see you next time on Outside Views.